Last week I played a clip from a podcast by Jocko, former Navy SEAL. Grew up in a little town called Torrington. Not so little, maybe 30,000 people, but a town I know well, city actually, where I spent 15 years, and it was my first job was in Torrington, working for the Torrington Company. But that's not the purpose of this podcast. What I talked about last week and then used that podcast clip was to see how he framed setbacks and problems. So if you haven't listened to it, I'd encourage you to do that. But I found a follow-up piece from a podcast, and there are nuggets in podcasts. Oftentimes they go on for hours, but there are some pieces in there that are really important. And one of the clips that I found that I wanted to play, and I've included here from that podcast audio clip, is that he ended up talking about what do you do on the days that you just don't feel like getting to it. You want to procrastinate, you want to push it off, etc., etc. We are all, myself included, going to have those days. So what do you do on those days? One of the things that I've found that's most important is just realize if I start, it's a beginning. And oftentimes that's enough to carry you through. That you don't feel like doing something, maybe you don't feel like making cold calls, you don't feel like having letters or talking to somebody. Just do it anyway. Just say, I'll start. Oftentimes, as I say, you'll continue through, you'll get it done, but there's great power in just beginning. So I wanted to include that clip here. Certainly the first part that I played last week included a lot on mindset. This one, a lot of mindset as well. Think about the difference between throwing in the towel and saying, okay, if I'm just going to start and go through the motions, I'm going to start and go through the motions. And he talked about if you are feeling tired, if you are feeling worn out, that can be a sign that maybe you need to take some time off or take a break. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's just the circumstances. And so he made a great point in if that's the way you feel, procrastinate on that task. Procrastinate on throwing in the towel until tomorrow when you can relook at it and see if that was accurate and you do need a break or if not. But I can tell you from personal experience that an awful lot of times, and it happens to me if I'm preparing a talk or something like that, I'll think about what I want to say and then I'll say, yeah, I should write that down and do those PowerPoint slides. And eventually, now sooner than I used to, I get to the point, you know what, I'm just going to get anything on paper, anything. And I find that then that gives you something to work from. And when you start that process, oftentimes you will spend a lot of time to go through it, where before you would have spent no time to go through it. So I'm going to play that clip from Jocko's podcast, about 3 minutes, I think. Remember it. Remember to take action. And if you feel like procrastinating on a task, wait until tomorrow to procrastinate on it. If you want to get these videos, all you need to do is go over to brucewhipple.com, take a look at the YouTubes that are there, the podcasts that are there, the courses that are there, some free material, and get that free class. That will put you on the mailing list. I put out 3 emails a week. They're action-oriented, intended to get you moving in a direction or try something that you haven't tried or use a tactic, etc. But certainly do that. And to be able to get over there directly, if that's what you want to do, yes, you can go to the website and grab the free class. Or if you want to get there directly, just go to brucewhipple.com/get class.
What do you do on the days when you're just not feeling it?
Those days. Those days when I'm tired or worn out or just basically sick of the grind. What do I do on those days? I go anyways. I get it done, even if I'm just going through the motions. I go through the motions. I don't really want to work out. I work out. I really don't want to hammer on a project. I hammer on the project. Don't really want to get up and get out of bed. Yeah, I get up and get out of bed. Now, these could be signals that you need some time off. And those signals might be right. They could be correct. But don't take today off. Not today. Wait until tomorrow. Don't give in to the immediate gratification that is whispering in your ear. Shut that down. Do not listen to that little voice. Instead, go through the motions. Lift the weights, sprint the hill, work on the project, get out of bed. Now, as an overall rule, I do not like procrastination. You need to get things done. But if you are going to rest, that is one thing that you should procrastinate on. That's the one thing I want you to put off until tomorrow. And if, when tomorrow comes, you still feel like you need to rest or you need to take a break, then okay. Take it. But the chances are you won't. You won't need that rest. Chances are you will realize that the desire to rest was just weakness. It was just the desire to take the path of least resistance, the downhill path, the easy path. And by simply going through the motions, you overcame that path. And you stayed on the righteous path, the disciplined path. You stayed on the war path, which is right where you know that you belong.